Talking about education, we will be bringing into the studio Mr. Franklin Adjete, who is an educationist. He's widely traveled. He has handled progressively well the educational sector in the United Kingdom, and he's doing the same for us here in Nigeria. We will be taking his views on the Not Too Young to Run bill, the role of education in today's politics, and what he thinks about Nigerian youths being ready for leadership. Join us as we have a very interactive session with Mr. Franklin Adjete. Mr. Franklin, you have been involved extensively in some youth-based projects across Africa. Can you tell us a little about what you've been doing, especially about the Project Know Thyself?
Okay, thank you very much. Project Know Thyself is a project that helps young people to discover who they are, through their talents, their strengths, and their weaknesses, and to be to become who they want to be, and also to become true servant leaders. Now, the reason why we have Project Know Thyself, and I work on Project Know Thyself, is because of my experience as a teacher. For the past years teaching children, I've realized that when they come out of school, and secondary school, and then junior university, come out of university, then what happens? They become the leaders in the society. You understand? And when they become the leaders in the society, they make the decisions for everyone. Now we have leaders in the society who are making decisions for us, and we are in the back and we are complaining. We are talking about it all the time. We don't like certain decisions that they make for us, and certain decisions that have been made has kept us where we are today in Africa. Working in the UK and looking at the situation where Africa is, where Nigeria is, where Ghana is, where other West African countries are, I started thinking that what can bring a change to how we think, how we do things, so that we can be independent and be able to run our own system, and not have a run to the Western countries. And then what I thought about was critical thinking. Who teaches the child how to critically think? Creative thinking. Who teaches our children to think creatively, innovatively? We don't have that much in our system. Now the world is changing, things are changing, and the technology is also evolving, it's growing. It's gone far ahead of Africa. So how do we catch up? And if we are not able to catch up, then our economy will not be able to grow. Now, as an educationist, I thought about designing a curriculum that will support teachers, to teach these children, so that when they come out of school, their thinking changes. If their thinking changes, and when I say changes, they think critically, creatively, and innovatively, then they'll also know that they have to work hard. They also know that they have to have certain skills in order to become leaders, of the country or of the world. And if that should happen, then we have to be training teachers. So I put this project together, working with young people and working with teachers, empowering them to be able to know how to think, know how to teach the little ones, so that the change that we are looking for, the change that all our governments are talking about. What I said I was going to talk about change, and somebody said to me, there's no need to mention change anymore, because everybody is saying change, and change never happens. But we're still going to continue to talk about change, because change is always happening, but as to whether the change is effective or not, that's what we need to talk about. And why is it not effective? It boils down to education. Education is meant to solve societal issues. And if we have educated our young people and they come out of school and they can't solve their own issues, then how do they solve societal issues? Then what have we done? So that's how Project Know Thyself came about. If you know who you are, you know where you come from, you know your roots, you know your strengths and your weaknesses, then you'll be able to work hard on your strengths and work hard to cover up your weaknesses, or actually to grow out of your weaknesses and be more strong and be who you want to be, so you can support your society. Quite a number of us Africans do not observe our environment very well, like we think we have. And if we do observe our environment very well, then we know what we have around us. If we know what we have around us, we will be able to make the changes that we are looking for and move forward. So Project Know Thyself is a movement that is meant to empower young people in Nigeria, in Africa, to be able to bring the changes that we're looking for. We're not waiting for the government or the president to make the changes, because the government is not able to make those changes alone. You know, actually not the government, the president is not able to make the changes alone, because the government is the people. We are the people. The young ones are the people. We are meant to make the changes. We have so many young people who are complaining about being failed by the government. They are tired of being tired. You know, they are tired of waiting. And what are you waiting for? Why are you tired? What have you done? You know, now they have not done much. I've met a few young people who have said to me that people are saying that they are lazy. You know, I said that if somebody says you are lazy, what have you done? What do you want to do? What can you do? Have you thought about other things to do so that nobody will point fingers at you and say you are lazy? You know, so Project Know Thyself is meant to help young people to come out of their shell, to discover their talents and be able to lead our nation and be able to bring out the best decisions that will support change, will support growth for Africa, for Africa to be able to meet that big margin or bridge that big gap between herself and the Western countries.
Talking about young people and leadership. Now, do you think young people in this part of the world are actually ready for leadership? The bill was passed a few days ago. But do you think Nigerian youths are actually ready for leadership as an educationist?
Well, as an educationist, I'm not sure if they're ready for leadership. Why? Because what most Nigerian young people have seen is corruption. Things are not done properly, and the systems don't run properly. You know, so they've seen all that, and what they say all the time and what they hear is, when you become a president or when you become a leader anywhere, you have the opportunity to dip your hands into the coffers and take money and do what you like and support your family and support your friends and stuff like that. Now, if that's their thinking and they are rushing into leadership, are we not going to have worse leaders than we had? Because they have not learned who's been their role model. Do you understand? So I will urge all young people, if you want to get into leadership, fantastic, you are ready for leadership. But what makes you know that you are ready for leadership is the leadership skills. What are leadership skills? That's another thing we need to think about. Because it's easy to say leadership is leading by example. What are the examples? What are the things that you have to do to show that you are ready for leadership? Because one, if we're not hardworking, we're not time conscious, we don't understand systems, we don't understand how education runs an economy, we don't understand how health can affect education and everything, we don't understand why it's important to have that road from that place to that place, and it shouldn't just be in our town, but it should be everywhere, and we don't understand how to prioritize things.
Okay. Using a yes or no.
I think I want to interject.
I'll get to using a yes.
I have to interject.
No, I just want
the
to.
Nigerian youth doesn't see corruption. Corruption is not a Nigerian citizen.
Okay.
He said the Nigerian youth has seen corruption, and I think that is terrible to describe the Nigerian youth. We have one of the best working youth force in the world. Nigerian youth have not seen leadership. That is coming from those in power, the class of 66.
Talking about this generation.
This generation has not seen leadership from the generation leading. That is the problem. But has this generation done something? I tell you, I've worked with various companies on various projects, and I've seen young people lead thousands of people to do great things in many projects.
Are you saying this because you have an interest to contest, or you're saying?
I'm not saying this because I have an interest to contest. I'm a young man. I have done a whole lot of things. In the last 5 years, I have done so much. I have worked with boards of companies, NGOs, civil society organizations, a lot of them. And I have seen young people lead in various capacities.
Okay.
What is lacking is that they have not been given the opportunity to handle bigger positions, because some persons who are not even ready to run to lead in their 70s and 80s are occupying the positions.
Okay. Now let me get to you. He's saying he doesn't think young people are actually ready to.
No, I'm not saying that.
Okay.
I'm not
Correct
saying
me
that.
if I'm
That's why I want to come in here.
Okay.
I'm not saying that I don't think that young people are ready. What I'm saying is, young people have to be careful. They need to think critically. They may be ready or not. I don't know that. Yeah. I have seen young people younger than you who are very good. They are talented, they are creative, they can be trusted, they've got good leadership skills, but yet don't have the opportunity, to get it, but have worked so hard and gradually are getting their way up there. Okay. You understand? They are not sitting down complaining that nobody is giving them the opportunity. You are big or whatever you are. There are different ways that I can show leadership. Now, coming to talk about Nigerians, Nigerian youth having not seen leadership, yet they have seen leadership. But whether it's good leadership or bad leadership, that's what we're looking at. Because everywhere, in every society, there has been leadership, whether we like it or not. Positive or negative, true or, corrupt.
Or not. Okay,
I think
what's your opinion?
I think Franklin has made a very good point. But where I want to comment in what he said is I don't like the issue of generalizing something. When he was talking, he said something about Nigerian youths. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. Probably because they've learned, our predecessors, people that have led us in the past, have not shown a very good representation. That doesn't mean that Nigerian youths have not learned from the outside world. Even if we don't have a system that works. Most of us have had the privilege of staying in a society that works. At least we've seen how things are done in England and other developed nations. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So Nigerian youths, to me, are hardworking youths. They are hardworking people, in as much as the government has not really done very much for them. So what I can say is this: in every 12 there must be a Judas. Okay. Do you understand? I am not going to use because of action of one single man and condemn the rest of others. So what I'm trying to say is this: Nigerian youths, from the best of their ability, from what they have on ground, you can, for instance, like when you look at the universities here back home and the universities out there, you find out that people are just struggling here. You go to school with libraries that are not properly equipped. Do you understand? To make research become very difficult for you because of inavailability of research materials in the schools. So things like that, you cannot, and I believe, normally the people say, oh, snake gives birth to snake. It's just an ideology. I've seen a bad father give birth to a good son.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you understand? For the fact that someone's father used to be a criminal does not mean that everything is all about what you want to be and the path you choose to follow. So what I want to say is this: the past administrations, our past leaders, I know they've not really done well, but I can proudly say that in as much as despite all the poor educational facilities and everything, we will still have some youths that had the benefit of the only thing we are saying in this country. Because of the way things are in this country, people are really, I think the wealth is not properly divided.
It's not distributed.
It's not evenly. Thank you. It's not evenly distributed because you will see a man like somebody from the east, somebody from the south, somebody from the north. They have probably the same qualifications, and when they come out, you'll be like, oh, you might be forced to ask if one of them actually see the four walls of the university at the first place, because this boils down to what you're saying about poor educational infrastructure and the rest. So Nigerian youths, in as much as we have people that have not really done well, we have people that have failed like that have not shown proper representation, proper character to be emulated. We also have people that in all areas they handle, they are really a force to reckon with.
Okay. Okay. This brings me down to this all boils down to education, according to what you just said. Now, back to you, Mr. Franklin.
Yes.
What is the role of education in today's democracy? A lot of young Nigerians believe that education is the key to escaping poverty. What is your definition of education?
You know what? I can't really define education because I can just put it in postulates, in different points. Education is not really going to primary school, secondary school, and then university and coming out. And then what? When you are educated, you are well grounded and well rounded in different things, in different aspects. Let me deviate a bit. When I came to Nigeria, I came to actually explore Nigeria in the positive sense. And when I look around, like you have said, I try not to make judgments, on how people have led, and whether it's good or bad or not, because until you are wearing the shoes,
you don't know where it
exactly. But what I want to say is, I've come across so many young Nigerians who are extremely talented and hardworking, and they are working hard, men and women, to make ends meet, to lead in different ways. Now, when we talk about leadership, I'll come back to the education thing. When we talk about leadership, it's not just becoming a local MP or a president or whatever. You can be a head of a carpentry school, you can be a head teacher, you can be a doctor, you can be selling in the market, but there's leadership in everything. Everybody's role goes towards moving the country forward. So when we talk about education, it's in different forms. Some of our grandfathers and grandmothers didn't really have formal education, but their thinking was really critical. They think about things. Is it right or wrong? Should I try this? If I try this, what is going to happen? Will it affect all the people positively? Oh yes. Okay, then I'll do it. Will it affect some of the people negatively, especially most of the people? No, then it's not good for the people. I'm not going to do it because it's good for me. So we have that community sense. Now, we're all in this world for a particular reason, and we all have a role to play, and we all have different ideologies, but we must be tolerant of each other, and we all have to eat, we have to sleep, we have to wake up with Maslow hierarchy of needs. We all have needs. Now, in order for all these things to work, we have to be educated in one form or the other and think about other people. For change to happen, all the negative things that's not going on well in Africa, in Nigeria, if we want that to change, it's not going to happen in a day. It's not going to happen overnight or a year or two. It will happen gradually, but it will happen through education. Formal and informal. Not formal or formal, formal and informal.
It mustn't be in the four walls of a classroom.
No. The education it's gone. Education is gone out of the four walls of the classroom. We used to say that think outside the box. Now there is no box. Yes. So think and think critically. You understand? I won't sit here. I went to school in the UK. And then I lived in the UK. I worked in the UK. I won't sit here and say that the UK system is better than the Nigerian system. No, we've got ideas in Nigeria. We are well endowed. We are talented. There are little things that we need to plug in, and they will be running down here. And it's all down to our education. So my role as a consultant for Project Know Thyself is to provide free teacher training to the teachers and open their eyes, empower them, and tell them, listen, if you don't have the computers, find alternative solution, do something else. Even your games, your IU game can teach critical thinking. It can teach mathematics. It will teach English. And you don't know it, I will show you. There's a young man I met who said he makes suits. And I said, do you know you can have a school where you teach young people how to sew, charge them just cheap, 10,000, and find 3 or 4 children or young people who would never be able to pay and give them free opportunity to come and learn. I will put a curriculum down for you, things that I can do, and it helps the educational system to see that without the education being looked into, being reviewed, things will never change because these ones are the ones going to grow.
He just spoke about one of the key issues where I'm running for office.
Okay.
education as it has to do with different forms of education. I'm running for office basically because I've seen that the Nigerian education system, the way it is currently structured, is not solving the Nigerian problem.
Do you agree with that?
Because there's a saying that goes like this: office is no longer a place; it's a virtual space.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Fantastic.
It's no longer a place. Like just like I said earlier, you mustn't wake up every day and go and run to a particular place and say this is the office you're going to work. If you have your computer, you have your internet, and maybe you're an online trader just like me, you can comfortably sit anywhere and make transactions. So I quite agree with what my friends have said so far about education, not necessarily meaning you must be under a four walls of any school. You can educate yourself. We from the East, our parents they didn't even have opportunity to see any four walls of any university.
Our parents after the war had to struggle to.
Like my
from nothing.
My late dad did not see any form of education at all, but he ran his business. Common sense. You don't learn everything in school. There's one he usually tells me. He call me, Chinoso, come. Passing sense is not passing sense. For the fact that you pass 6 does not mean that you've passed sense. So when you're trying to pass 6, make sure you pass sense at the same time. You get what I'm saying?
I think this has to do with the Igbo man system of education and learning as it regards to trade and a lot of things.
Yes. So we need to deviate from the Western world and look
at Africa should educate Africa for Africa.
Exactly.
Okay.
You see the average Igbo man, he's 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 or whatever age. The parents can't afford formal education.
Sorry, I'm not cutting you short. You can be studying library science while we don't have any standard library in the country.
That's the point.
Understand?
You get what I'm saying?
You see the Igbo man progress to go and join one Chukwu Emeka in the market, and over 3, 4, 5 years, he becomes a master of his own. He has learned business.
That's
he
education.
has dealt with money.
That's
he is given a seed capital to start with, and within a few years, you see him excel. We need to educate Africa for Africa, and that is why I will recommend the Igbo system, which I will decide to call Unrinomics. Because in being the progenitor of the Igbo people, they should go back to that. You see, Igbo people succeed more. It's not because they go to 4 walls of education. After the Civil War, we decided to discover ourselves. We were left with nothing. 1 million pounds in the bank becomes 20 pounds.
I'm not cutting you short. Apart from the Igbos doing their normal business thing in the market, we have the Fulanis. They are professional cattle rearers. That's another part of education.
I'll
do you understand? If that's what they do best,
that's what they do best. But
do you understand?
Can cattle rearing cater for the Fulani nation today? It is something that people can do. But you see, the Igbo business is spread across sectors. Okay. Even Igbo men run cattle farms now. They run ranches.
Okay.
And they learn from each other. You go and learn from your uncle who gives you a seed capital to start with the skills you have acquired from him. You implement this, and then with what you can do for yourself, you excel. So I believe we should not have a national education policy, but we should have regional or state education policies.
And I must commend Mr. Frank. Project Node itself is a very good one, because it teaches people, apart from going to sit in a classroom, that you can be a teller, you can be a bricklayer, you can be a carpenter, and still make a living out of it. It mustn't necessarily mean this school is the best school in Nigeria. Let me see if I can gather money and go there. You educate yourself.
If we blatantly refuse to be part of the electoral processes, get our permanent voters card, and even vote, then we do not have any moral justification to criticize anybody in power or government.
Do you think you have what it takes to be part of tomorrow's leadership?
Your actions today determines your future tomorrow.
This platform has been created to conscientize youth on the rights during the electoral process.
Therefore, we as youth must collectively get involved, interact with the process.
This is Expose 2018.
Let's all join in
today.
The Expose 2018, creating tomorrow's leaders today.
Okay, we will be going personal now. Mr. Michael, I'll start from you. You are contesting for the State House of Assembly in Enugu State. You are young and relatively new to the political sector. Now, what motivated you? Why did you join politics? I mean, you're doing well in business. You're making a good living from whatever it is you do. Why go into the murky waters of politics?
Thank you very much. The reason why I joined politics, like I can proudly tell you, like it's not by accident.
Okay.
I intentionally joined politics because I want to be part of this change we are clamoring for. In as much as the word change has been overrated, but there's still change, something like the word change has been there, have been issue. And countries, different countries, they've been making positive change. And I believe, apart from Nigerian government not doing so well now, they've done something, positive in the past. Do you understand? We've had our ups and downs, of which we are moving to make Nigeria a better place.
Well, a lot of people would not agree with that.
Yeah,
in the present situation.
That's my view. That's my opinion.
Okay.
Do you understand? So the reason why I joined politics is to be able to be part of that change, to be able to write my name in the sands of time. When they talk about people that made good policies, when they talk about people that really transformed the Oji River and Nigeria at large, they will call my name. That is my only interest. And I've gone around like I've been with my people all my life. I've been in the East. Apart from the time, even my secondary, my university was down in the East before I furthered it.
Grassroots politician.
Exactly. So I literally, like, if you come to my local government and say, oh, we are looking for Michael Chinonso, you're home. Do you understand? These are people that I mingle with. These are people that I know. And I didn't just, met them because of my intentions to run. They are family. I know their problems. I've gone around the whole schools in Oji River when I was distributing exercise books to all the schools there to make sure that people in school have writing materials to write on. Trust me, the state of the schools are deteriorating. Like it's nothing to write home about. I went to one school, I literally wept. I practically wept because the school was, people were studying. If I show you pictures, you might be forced to ask me, is this real? Is this Nigeria? But I've seen last month, recently, people are just running helter-skelter, politicians trying to, come back or, get votes from people, renovating these schools. I mean, these structures has been there for over
a long time.
10 years. Do you understand?
Why now?
16 years. Why the rush?
Now, all of a sudden.
Why the rush all of a sudden? Because election is fast approaching. That is not the kind of government I envisage for my people. I want to do the right thing at the right time.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
If I've actually neglected the road that leads to one community in my constituency, and a week before the election,
you're coming back to repair.
I'm coming back to repair it. It's obviously like the body language is clear enough that because I want their vote. If I see in life, there is what people will need, somebody will need at a particular point in time, and you don't give it to that person. There is a time you will bring it.
You will not need it.
The person might not need it anymore.
Okay. Now, do you think the people of Oji River are ready for a young representation?
Yes, of course.
Or why do you think so?
Because I don't need. There's what they say. There's a saying in my place, like something that is clear enough. You don't need a mirror to view it. Do you understand? Like nobody have seen the back of his ears unless you use a mirror. Do you understand? So my rapport with my people and what I've done so far at my age. Currently, we are running a scholarship program that is going to carry all the whole schools along. The first 10 people that make it to the finals will be under my scholarship.
Interesting.
Do you understand? So things like that. And I'm not saying our fathers, the people that our predecessors, I'm not saying they failed us woefully, because I believe if they've not done anything at all, we'll be in a state of anarchy.
Okay. So
the only thing I'm trying to say, they've done something,
but they've not done enough.
They've not done enough.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Okay.
So what I'm saying, like, people of Oji River look forward to a vibrant representation. People of Oji River look forward to, a man that when you look at his results, when you look at the things he has done for himself, he can like, I was talking to a friend the other day. I told him, say, it's funny when you say people are not, this man has embezzled 10 million, 50 million, 20 million. How can you vote a man that have not seen probably £1 million in his account, that is his own money? Obviously, you push him to, okay, go and represent us. And all of a sudden, he has an alert of 100 million, boom. Do you understand? I mean, psychologically, the person will be, destabilized.
Do you agree with that? Because I think it doesn't have to do with whether you have seen a millionaire or not. It has to do with integrity.
No, I'm trying to say no. See, what do you call integrity?
I think mainly it has to do with competence to do a particular job.
Wait, yes. I want to say something.
I can be poor and I'm very good at farming. I will farm.
No, see.
I can be.
I'm not saying. I'm not saying. I want to say something.
Okay.
I'm not saying being poor is a problem, but I'm talking about the managerial aspect of what comes in.
Okay. Yeah.
If you don't know, if you've not actually handled a company, I know they are two different things, but if you don't really know much about management,
how can you manage a people?
How can you manage a whole sum of, like a huge sum of amount of money?
Well, management is also not by just you, but you and the teams.
Exactly. So if you don't, most of the times you choose people that you work with. Do you understand? You have the opportunity to choose. Oh, I want this person because you are the only one elected.
Yes.
Do you understand?
You choose a team.
You choose a team. So if as a leader you are not properly informed, you don't have the technical know-how, do you think you can be able to, even when you see somebody that is competent to work with you, it cannot be identified. You cannot be able to identify that person because you exactly you are not competent.
Okay. I get your point. You are also contesting. Yeah. You are also very young. Now, do you think you can go far in this race as an individual? Do you think you have prospects in the race?
I've been fortunate in life to have had one of the best education Nigeria can offer. I was educated by the Catholic Church from my primary school days up to my university days. That is the best you can get in Nigeria and virtually most of the sub-Saharan Africa. I have had working experience. I'm a lawyer. I have worked with one of the topmost law firms in Nigeria, practicing maritime, aviation, corporate law, international property law, energy law.
Okay.
I'm open to policy making. I have sat on boards. I have listened to managers of industry speak. I have profiled solutions to issues. I have learned from them. What I am bringing to the race for Njikoka one constituency and to Anambra State in general, because when you go through the constituency, you see that once you are elected, you are no longer for the people, but you are for the whole state. And in helping people, you help yourself. So I'm looking at bringing policies, because legislation has to do with policy making. I'm looking at my state, my people, they don't have potable water, drinking water. They have to source from boreholes that are unhygienic. What has been happening? We need to make laws. We need to find a way. You need to break water supply.
So I'm not
so that it can reach everybody.
I'm not cutting you off, Honorable. Say, you know this thing with borehole style of politics in Nigeria.
It has diminished.
Personally, I don't buy the idea of, you see a man that wants to say, okay, that is representing a whole constituency, and to whom much is given, much is expected.
Exactly. I was going to talk about the whole ball. Like everybody's digging ball.
Everybody's digging ball.
That's the problem with
But understanding the borehole issue is not borehole to me.
See,
boreholes are unhygienic.
I think. I can comfortably, I don't need to go to House of Assembly to dig a borehole for my people. If I think water is their problem. Do you understand? I don't want us to be, you know, talking on irrelevant issues. Some things are natural phenomena.
But wait. Aside what I'm saying, I'm not talking about borehole.
I cannot add, I cannot put it as a credit to myself that I was able to give my people water.
It is terrible. I cannot do that.
I can't add it as a credit to myself.
But that's what is achievable.
But it is not what is achievable.
Personally, I call
it is what somebody with that idea will do.
See, personally, I call it borehole system of government.
It is not what somebody with that ideas will do.
It's a campaign strategy of which I'm not really.
It is not.
They have more pressing issues. When you empower people, borehole is nothing. When you empower people and they have what they are doing, people can comfortably dig a borehole in their house.
But for me, I don't want
everything boils down to empowerment.
No, I don't want people to keep digging boreholes because of the environment.
See,
I want a government that is going to lay pipe and supply water from water
because we have the resources.
But we don't have the resources. We need policies that is going to help us source the resources and deploy it to this sector.
Okay.
Potable water. When I talk about potable water, I'm talking about pipe-borne water coming from government channels. Like Anambra State has 21 local governments. I'm looking at dividing it into 7 economic zones where we can actually make laws that can invite investors to invest in any of the 7. So we can take 3 local governments at once, dedicate it to a company and group of people, and raise funds from the public to give them water, potable water.
Not
potable pipe-borne water.
Your plans are really good. Do you understand? But I think we should focus on empowerment.
No, I'm coming because when you want to do this, what do? You have to use people to work. You are going to empower them. They are going to, and you cannot just bring. Pipes cannot appear.
I saw a picture when I was going through my Facebook timeline earlier today. I ran into a picture how to win election in Nigeria. They drew a bag. They just showed one room full of bags of rice. That's how to win Nigerian election.
Oh my God,
but that is not how to win my people. No, you need to win my people with ideas.
Your people are people of Nigeria.
My people are not people of Nigeria. My people are the people of Anambra State.
People of Nigeria.
They have a different. Nigerians are not
dividing your people from the Nigerian nation.
My people are Nri people. They look at ideas. They don't want rice. They don't want money. They want an environment that is going to help them succeed individually.
I am from the Igbo land as well.
Okay.
Do you understand? And from the best of my knowledge, whether you're from Onitsha, you're from Iseluku, you're from Abia State, you are from Imo State, you are from Enugu State, whichever state you think you're from in the east, an Igbo man's ideology still remains the same. Igbo nation, there is how they have their approach to things. And the problem we are facing now is because the youth, they want something to take home with. Do you understand? You can call them for a garden. Like I had opportunity to talk to some youths in my constituency. So as I was speaking, one of them, like from the background, said, "Oh, please, after talking, go to the car and bring money and share."
That's a wrong mentality.
But that is his people. My people, I spoke to them. They asked me, "How are you going to?"
Let's give.
They never look for money.
Let me tell you.
They want to judge me based on my idea and my ability to deliver.
He's making a point.
I'm from Enugu State, but I was born in his state. Okay. I was raised in Onitsha in Anambra State.
Okay, interesting.
Do you understand? So even the Enugu State that I am happens to be old Anambra.
Okay.
So I can probably say I'm Anambra and I'm also Enugu.
Okay,
you get what I'm saying?
Just stick to Enugu.
But I will just stick to Enugu.
For your ambition.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say is this. For the fact that you're from Imo or you're from Enugu or Anambra does not make you, like, it doesn't, that mentality
of money.
What are you going to give us? If you're speaking any language to an Igbo man and you don't talk about money, trust me, he's not listening.
That is wrong. That is a corrupt system we have seen. See, that not every Igbo man follows.
See,
I told you have Igbo men who want ideas and how to implement ideas.
I know for sure that both of you are standing for your local place, which is Igbo, right?
Not just Igbo. I'm from Anambra State.
Okay,
not just Anambra State as a whole, but from Njikoka, the Inri people.
Okay.
I'm sure you
Beautiful,
understand
wonderful. Now, I'd like to share my experience with you. As I sit here, I am not Nigerian, you know, and I always say plainly, I'm from Ghana, you know. And when I left England and I came to Africa, I didn't go to Ghana, I came to Nigeria. Now, if I'm thinking about my people, then I'm thinking about Ghana. I should have been in Ghana, talking about the Ghanaian politics, Ghana education and stuff like that. It's not like I don't do, I do it. But I thought about Africa, the bigger sense that I'm coming to Nigeria, looking at the size of the population, is the giant of Africa. So I need to pump something here first, establish something here, and then see what's going on there, and then also go to certain African countries and be able to come up with an ideology, with a plan as to how to join in the team to help Africa. Gentlemen, you are eligible men who, I'll say eligible leaders. And I'm so proud of you because I'm not young. You guys are very young. I'm probably half of your, twice of your age. I've been working on Project Know Thyself with young people your age and younger, you know, and sometimes a bit above your age. And what I've been looking for is leaders like you to step up and join in and stand for elections and be among the decision-making group, so that when decisions are being made, it will be decision that will move the country forward. Now, if Nigeria fails, Ghana fails, Tanzania fails, every African country will fail. If Africa fails, England is going to be suffering, because we're all going to be swimming in the sea or one stowaway wanting to go there. Right. So we will flood the economy. So it's one world. We need to begin to think about the world. This is why I ran Project Know Thyself. The kind of education I'm talking about is very deep, deeper than you know. In today's world, if you are going to represent your people, who are your people? Those are my questions I'm going to ask both of you. Who are your people? Yes, you are standing, I don't know your system very well, but you are standing for, let's say, Anambra State. Of course, you support Anambra State. But when you're supporting Anambra State as well, begin to also think outside. When I became a teacher, they said to me, before you can be a head teacher, you have to start teaching outside your classroom. And I'm thinking, how? I'm a year 6 teacher. How do I work outside the classroom? They said, extend your leadership outside the classroom. So it's not just my class. It's not only my class that is going to pass the SAT exams and do very well, so that Mr. Adjete's class is done well. If I'm not able to carry 6B, 6C, and 6D, because his 4 streams are long, with my expertise in mathematics and English, and only my class passes, then what kind of leadership do I call that? So I need you to just think about your roles and what you want to do and your people.
You run a project for people to be able to realize who they are and be able to succeed from who they are.
Okay.
I cannot come and start talking about Nigeria succeeding without making sure a people has succeeded. Because if it is from the success of a people that others will emulate, it is from making my people succeed with me.
No, I cannot.
That's the whole Nigeria. I cannot talk about success can come from a place.
Exactly, but I cannot talk about the progress. I cannot talk about the progress.
That is it. But I cannot come here and talk about
the progress of Nigeria and Enugu at large.
Okay, I think this boils down to the fact that when the grassroots is succeeding, it eventually affects
and grows.
I cannot come on air and assume that and try to paint this beautiful picture about my people. Do you understand? If you don't actually, you know, if you're not able to dictate the problems, you know, one thing about, okay, you can say comfortably, my people, they don't want money. Do you understand? They are very understanding people. Money. Wait, they are very understanding people. When I talk to them, oh come on, they listen. Wonderful. Do you understand? If that's your people. But I'm telling you, a hungry man is an angry man. Do you understand? If somebody is hungry and you're trying to talk to that person, it doesn't make sense. They still want something. Do you understand? That is what I do. I don't have money to throw around. But I try as much as I can to entertain people. I can say, oh, hold yourself together with this, come and do this, and be doing it. Do you understand? So, but what I'm trying to say is this. I can't say, oh, my people, they are not, they don't like money. Of course, everybody likes money. their money, like everything they think about is money. So there is no how you're going to convince people without money. You know, I don't not say giving them money, at least showing them how to, not to be hungry.
Okay. To me, what I'm saying, I'm not saying my people don't like money. I'm just saying they don't want money for election. They want somebody who can create them. They are very entrepreneurial. Okay. They want somebody who can. I'm a carpenter. They want somebody like who I'm a carpenter. Furnitures are coming from China. It is flooding the country. It is destroying my business. They want somebody who is going to be able to make policies that will help them excel.
We want
somebody who is going to make policies that will going to make sure that they grow.
You come,
not just giving them.
You
money.
Make a very good presentation to them.
Finish your sentences.
You tell them, and at the end of the day, someone comes behind closed door, because you have to be realistic. Do you understand?
Okay.
You have to be factual. In as much as we envisage of a very good society, that everybody talks one thing and do that thing. We have this problem of, okay, people will come out openly and tell you, okay, Michael, you're running. In fact, you're already there, and they don't have their PVC,
which is wrong. It boils down to
how do you say?
It boils down to
I've had hundreds of people standing in front of me and tell me, oh, Michael, you're already there, and when you check, maybe 50 out of that 100 doesn't have their PVCs,
which is wrong. It all boils
do you
down
understand? So it's not enough to say, okay, I have the support of my people, and my people, they are good people.
And you're not doing
good
the right
people
thing
without PVC is a game of numbers. What we need is,
it takes a lot.
Some praise.
Do you understand?
So every young Nigerian out there, every Nigerian should get their PVCs, and I think the government needs to do something about
more enlightenment.
Yes.
There should be more work. People should be able to hear about getting their PVCs,
and then make the process easier. It gets discouraging when you go to stand in queues for hours and hours before you.
Most of my people don't speak fantastic English. They cannot listen to all the great PR in English and all those things. You need to advertise to them in the language they hear.
Yeah.
So when you come to Anambra State, we have a lot of radio stations.
I have a jingle running already now.
Give them a local way of let them know why. Civic education, grassroots education on what to do.
Okay, this has been a very interesting one. I'm sure if we had more time, we would have talked a lot about a great other thing. But before I let you go, what are your expectations come 2019, the election in 2019? You will be contesting, and he will be hoping to see positive results. Yes. What are your expectations? What do you expect from the people? How far do you expect to go?
Okay, the day I made my declaration, I said one thing, and of which I always stood by that, and the best person should represent Oji River. If I'm the best, then let the people decide. I can't come and tell them, oh, I'm the best thing that will happen to Oji River if they actually vote for me. Do you understand? I want to see more people.
More young people.
Exactly. I want to see more young people come out and say, oh, I've done this and I want to represent my people. I told them if I see someone that I think that, oh, this person can do a better job, the only thing I will do is to give that person my full support. But otherwise, my interest, my belief is that if I happens to make it to the House of Assembly, trust me, maybe we'll have another interview so you can count on the achievements.
That will be a good one. We'll hold you to that word. We have it recorded on tape. So how about you? What do you expect from 2019?
What I expect is that my party APGA is going to do the primaries, look at ideas mainly, and give the best man with the best idea the opportunity to represent the party in the general election, which I know is a walkover for my party because we have done so well in the last year. Our manifesto and our success speaks for itself. Okay. So by next year, I wish to walk into Anambra State of Assembly as a member with key laws to amend, to enact, and to repeat old ones, so that my people will see policies that will help them aspire.
The good thing about what we are doing now, do you understand, is this. Apart from the fact that he is APGA and I'm actually APC, do you understand?
We are the change.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm actually APC. does not stop us from coming together to, you know, discuss on ideas.
I'll move.
One of our friend that is supposed to be here, RMD, Honorable RMD, is actually PDP, but he couldn't make it to this program. So I want the Nigerian youths not to look at the party, look at the individual. It's people that form the party. Yes. Not the party that forms the people.
As much as you are looking at the individual, see what is the party's manifesto he's representing. A party will not give somebody who cannot actualize their manifesto.
Wait. If your party has the best manifesto, I mean, we are not supposed to be discussing about political parties.
Yes, actually.
But if your party have the best manifesto and actually send the wrong person to represent them, I mean, the party might not even make any good.
That is one thing my party has never done. ABGA has always sent the person.
Okay, let us not make this party based. Well, this is about the youth, and you have given us what you expect from the 2019 elections, and same as you. I will go to Mr. Franklin. You've been in Nigeria for a while now. In conclusion, now what is your opinion? A lot of young people are actually coming out. There's a mass revolution. Young people are showing interest in leadership positions, both those that are right for the job and those that are not. What is your opinion of this trend? What do you think about this new trend?
Well, young people are very angry at the moment, you know, and because a lot of them speak to me and they tell me what they want to do and how they need help, and they can't get help from anywhere, you know. Basically, what I'd like to say is, I'd like to advise these two young men, and then all the young men out there and women who are standing for elections, who want to be in leadership and help run Nigeria and other things, to think about not exactly their people, because the people can also decide to vote for the wrong person if their minds are not well educated. They won't know who the right person is. Like you both rightly said, that some people think that by giving them rice, giving them money and stuff, makes them happy to vote for a particular person. You both will need to know that you have a big role to play, a mantle on your shoulders to educate these young people who are very upset, very angry, and don't know what to do, but they are talented, you know, and they have so many ideas, but they don't know how to implement them. To get them to think positively, to think critically, so that when people are talking to them and trying to, what do you call it? Brainwash them to vote for them, because the Maslow hierarchy of needs, I always say, if you have not eaten, if you're hungry, anything that comes to you, if you're not careful, you just grab it. That's the first thing. So basically, if you educate these people really well, you spend time with them, empower them, and teach them things that they can do to begin to help themselves, they will understand the kind of representative you are going to be for them. They will understand the kind of leadership you are bringing, and they will understand what leadership is, so that anybody that comes to stand there, they can give the best decision and vote. Educate them to register so that they can vote for you.
I have a structure of about 1,000 youths that are in my constituency that we use. I have over the time worked with them, educated them on what they need. Today they hear somebody come out and say, I want to contest, and they ask you, what do you want to do? What can you do for us? And they say, oh, this thing you are saying does not have to do with representation. You are actually talking like an executive, because person comes, I'm going to build schools, I'm going to build your boreholes. They're like, but you're not an executive, you're going there as a legislator. You're going there to make policies for us and not to build things for us. So they're conscious.
They're
and we're capitalizing on the over 1,000 youth. Like as at the last count, we had about 1,000 plus. I have to speak to my coordinator down to know how many we have now. We're capitalizing on them to at least get at least 10 of their people. You know, one person can be able to speak to
and get
the best idea.
I also
share it across, and then we get the youths and the elderly ones. I have older women even in the group that are doing this.
But the youth, they always are taken, assembled, spoken to, vote on you, vote for me. But when they come, do you empower them? Do you tell them things that they can begin to do?
Yes, we are going into another level already. This is getting to another session.
Like I told the youths in my constituency the last time we had a meeting, that if anybody comes to you with rice and money, why not? Take it from him, but don't sell out your conscience. Because that's your money.
That's a whole new one.
I'm not going to tell it. I'm not going to tell a hungry man
to reject something.
I won't make sense to him.
Make sure that your conscience is with you.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay, that's a whole new one. I mean, taking somebody's gift and not doing what you.
That's somebody's.
That's a whole
realistic.
Okay, that's a whole. That's a whole new form of bribery. Thank you very much, Mr. Michael. Thank you, Mr. Franklin. It's nice having you guys here. Barrister, we are very, very happy that you're here. We've learned a lot from all three of you. I mean, you are contesting for Oji in Enugu State, Oji River,
and Njikoka one,
Anambra, which happens to be a home of great minds. Mr. Franklin is an educationist who is passionate about transforming the lives of Nigerian teachers so that they can give more value to the life of Nigerian youths, children, women, and the general populace at large. And thank you, viewers, for being with us on this interactive session. I hope you have been able to learn one or two things from the wonderful guests we have in the house, and I do hope that 2019 brings prospect for the Nigerian youth. Once again, thank you very much for your patience. God bless you. Keep believing in Nigeria. Go out, get your PVC, do the right thing, and make sure there is progressive leadership amongst young Nigerians all over the country. God bless you. Once again, I am Wilson Levi, and this is Play Nigeria.